Did you know hidden inside your old coin jar could be a half-dollar that is worth more than your monthly rent? Because these four rare half-dollar coins hold secrets, stories, and values that most people overlook. So join me on this detailed journey where I uncover. They said it was just pocket change, but hidden in the 1971 half-dollar is a story of American pride, rare errors, Cold War silver secrets, and forgotten millions. This isn't just a coin. It's a time capsule waiting to explode in value and history. The 1971 half-dollar coin is a piece of American currency that holds more value than most people realize. To understand its true worth, we must go back to the aftermath of World War II, when the United States emerged as a dominant world power. The nation entered the 1950s and 60s with economic strength, military might, and cultural influence. But the events of the 1960s, including the Vietnam War civil rights movements and the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, shook the nation in 1964. To honor Kennedy's legacy, the United States Mint released the Kennedy half-dollar. The coin was an instant hit, struck in 90%. Silver collectors and Americans alike began hoarding them and removing them from circulation, which led to a shortage in the years following. Silver content in U.S. coins was reduced due to rising silver prices. By 1971, all circulating U.S. coins, except for a few special collector issues, were struck with no silver content. The 1971 Kennedy half-dollar was the first in this series to be minted, without any silver in its base design. It marked the beginning of a new era for American currency. The coin itself features the profile of John F. Kennedy facing left, with the word liberty above his head. The phrase, "In God we trust," appears split with "In God" to the left, and "We trust" to the right of the bust. The date, 1971, rests at the bottom of the obverse side, designed by Gilroy Roberts. The obverse pays tribute to the late president in a bold and noble representation. The reverse side was created by Frank Gasparo, featuring the presidential seal, a heraldic eagle clutching arrows, and an olive branch surrounded by 50 stars with United States of America, and half-dollar inscribed around the border. The coin was struck at 3 mints: Philadelphia with no mint mark, Denver with a D mint mark, and San Francisco with an S. The Philadelphia and Denver issues were struck for circulation, while the San Francisco Mint produced proof versions intended for collectors. The metal composition of the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar was a copper nickel clad with a core of pure copper and outer layers of copper nickel. This was a significant change from the previous 40% silver coins that had been minted from 1965 to 1970. This shift to base metals reflected the nation's attempt to preserve its silver reserves and adjust to the evolving economy. In terms of mintage, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 155 million coins, while the Denver Mint struck over 250 million. The San Francisco Mint produced nearly 4 million proof coins. One of the key reasons collectors value the 1971 half-dollar is due to minting errors and variations. Among these errors are the famous 1971 D. Kennedy half-dollars mistakenly struck on leftover 40% silver planchets from 1970. These transitional errors are extremely rare and can be worth thousands of dollars depending on condition, weight, and authentication. Other errors include double die obverses, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and missing layers. These varieties are always sought after and command premium prices at auctions. One well-known discovery was made by a collector who found a 1971 D struck on a silver planchet weighing approximately 11.5 grams instead of the normal 11.34 grams. It was authenticated and sold for a significant amount of money, showing just how valuable these rare errors can be in terms of historical context. The 1971 Kennedy half-dollar was released during the Nixon administration, at a time when the nation faced economic challenges, inflation, and unrest. While the coin carried the image of a fallen president, it circulated in a nation uncertain of its future. Yet the presence of Kennedy's face in everyday transactions gave Americans a sense of remembrance and unity over the years. The use of the half-dollar in general circulation declined by the 1980s and 90s. Most Americans rarely saw half-dollars in everyday use, yet the coins continued to be produced mostly for collectors. The 1971 half-dollar has therefore gained a kind of mystique it is. Part of a generation of coins that were both widely produced and yet largely absent from daily life collectors. Prize it not only for its design, but also for its place in American monetary and cultural history. Its numismatic value depends heavily on condition and rarity. While standard circulated examples are worth around face value, higher-grade uncirculated and proof coins can fetch much more, especially if certified by agencies like PCGS or NGC, for example. A 1971S proof coin in PR70 Deep Cameo can be worth over $100. Meanwhile, a 1971D silver transitional error can reach into the five-figure range. The grading scale plays a critical role in valuation. Coins are assessed on a 70-point scale, with higher numbers representing superior condition mint state coins, typically begin at MS60 and go up to MS70, with MS65 and above being considered premium uncirculated coins. Collectors often search for coins with strong strikes, minimal bag marks, and clean fields, aside from condition. The market also reacts to historical events, anniversaries, and media exposure. Coins featured in news stories, documentaries, or popular YouTube channels often spike in value due to renewed public interest. The Kennedy half-dollar has been minted in every year since 1964, but the 1971 edition stands at a crossroads between the silver era and modern-clad coinage. It marks a pivotal transition in U.S. monetary history as inflation continued and digital payments rose. The role of physical coins like the half-dollar diminished, yet their collectible value grew among enthusiasts around the world. In auction records, we find fascinating prices paid for 1971 half-dollars with unique characteristics. In 2016, a 1971D silver transitional error graded MS61 by NGC sold for over $12,000. This example alone sparked a flurry of activity among collectors checking their old rolls and bags for similar finds. Some collectors have even found rare coins in bankrolls or inherited collections, proving that valuable discoveries can still be made today. If we trace the half-dollar's origin, it dates back to the late 18th century. The first U.S. half-dollar was minted in 1794, and it evolved through the bust Liberty seated Liberty Barber and Franklin series before transitioning to the Kennedy design in 1964. Thus, the 1971 coin is part of a much older legacy, one that represents changing times, politics, metal economics, and identity for collectors. Today, the 1971 half-dollar represents opportunity, mystery, and nostalgia. Whether you're a beginner or an advanced numismatist, understanding its history and characteristics is essential to appreciate its full value. As the market continues to grow, demand for well-preserved and rare examples will only increase, especially as younger generations rediscover the value of coin collecting through digital platforms, documentaries, and educational content. The Kennedy half-dollar remains one of the most iconic and enduring series in U.S. numismatics. The 1971 edition specifically captures a turning point, a coin struck in honor of a beloved president during a time of national change, a coin that still hides treasures among millions that were forgotten in drawers, bankrolls, and jars across America, a coin that holds not only monetary but also historical value. This episode is dedicated to coin lovers, collectors, and enthusiasts who are eager to understand the root significance and detailed story behind the 1976 Kennedy half-dollar coin. The 1976 half-dollar coin is one of the most iconic commemorative coins in American numismatic history, issued to mark the bicentennial of the United States of America. It stands out not only for its design, but also for the occasion. It honors this coin was part of a special release by the United States Mint in honor of the 200th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, which took place in 1776. The U.S. Mint made special designs for the $quarter-dollar, half-dollar, and $1 coins, specifically for the bicentennial celebration. These coins were struck in both clad and silver versions and are known for their dual date, 1776 to 1976. which sets them apart from other regular issue coins. The design of the 1976 Kennedy half-dollar was modified from the original design by Frank Gasparro, which featured a profile of President John F. Kennedy. The bicentennial reverse design was created by Seth G. Huntington and depicts Independence Hall in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The reverse also includes the dual date 1776 to 1976, along with the words United States of America, half-dollar, and E pluribus unum. This was the first and only time that the Kennedy half-dollar featured this special reverse design, and it was used only for coins dated 1776 to 1976, before returning to the regular presidential seal design in 1977. Now let us understand how the idea of commemorating the bicentennial with a special coin program came about. The journey of this coin begins in the early 1970s, when the U.S. government began to plan for the celebration of the country's 200th birthday. The American Revolution Bicentennial Administration, or RBA, worked with the U.S. Mint and Congress to produce special commemorative coinage to reflect the historic importance of the event. Public excitement and demand for a unique coinage experience led to the authorization of a circulating commemorative coin program, rather than a limited edition collectible, which had been the trend in the past. Congress passed legislation authorizing the redesign of the quarter, half-dollar, and dollar to be issued in the years leading up to and during 1976. This made the 1976 Kennedy half-dollar not just a piece of currency, but a work of symbolic patriotism and national pride. Production of the 1976 half-dollar began in 1975 and continued through 1976. Interestingly, all coins bearing the bicentennial design carry the dual date of 1776 to 1976, regardless of the year in which they were minted. This was a deliberate move to reflect the commemorative nature of the release. There are two major varieties of the 1976 half-dollar. One is the copper-nickel-clad version, which was intended for general circulation, and the other is the 40% silver version, which was produced primarily for collectors and sold in special mint and proof sets. The clad version was produced at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, while the 40% silver coins were struck at the San Francisco Mint in both uncirculated and proof versions. Let us go deeper into the mintage figures and production details. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 234 million of the 1976 Kennedy half-dollars with no mint mark, while the Denver Mint struck over 287 million coins. Bearing the D mint mark, San Francisco struck around 11 million uncirculated silver coins and over 4 million silver proof coins, which makes the silver versions comparatively rare and more desirable among collectors. Many people wonder whether the 1976 half-dollar has any special value today, and the answer depends on several factors, including condition, mint mark composition, and whether it is a proof or uncirculated version. Circulated copper-nickel examples are very common and are usually worth face value or slightly more. But uncirculated and proof examples, especially those in high grade or with special finishes, can be worth several dollars or more. Silver examples are worth even more due to their precious metal content and limited mintage. When considering value, it is also important to look at grading and preservation coins that are certified by third-party grading services like PCGS or NGC, and have high grades such as MS67 or PR69 can fetch significant premiums, especially if they exhibit strong luster-clean surfaces and minimal contact marks. Deep cameo-proof coins with mirrored fields and frosted devices are especially popular with collectors and investors. Another interesting aspect of the 1976 half-dollar is the cultural and historical symbolism embedded in its design. Independence Hall is not only a key American landmark, but also the very place where the Founding Fathers debated and signed the Declaration of Independence. Its inclusion on the reverse of the coin reinforces the historical roots of American freedom and democracy, while the obverse maintains the memory of John F. Kennedy, President who embodied a spirit of renewal and progress during his time in office. The coin thus serves as a bridge between two eras, the founding of the nation and the modern era of American leadership. The dual date is a subtle yet powerful reminder of continuity, heritage, and national pride. It is a coin that tells a story not only through its metal and design, but through the era that produced it. The mid-1970s were a time of both reflection and hope, as Americans looked back on 2 centuries of growth and looked forward to the challenges of the future. From a collector's point of view, the 1976 Kennedy half-dollar holds a special place in every bicentennial set. It is often collected alongside the Washington Bicentennial Quarter and the Eisenhower Bicentennial Dollar, completing what many consider to be one of the most historically meaningful coin sets issued by the United States Mint in the 20th century. These coins are frequently found in original government packaging, which can add to their value, especially if well preserved. There are also error coins and varieties that can be valuable, including off-center strikes, doubled dies, and coins struck on wrong planchets. Although these are rare when they do appear, they are highly sought after by specialists and often sell for significant premiums at auctions or through private sales. Collectors should always be vigilant and knowledgeable about these varieties, as they can turn an ordinary-looking coin into a rare and valuable treasure. In summary, the 1976 Kennedy half-dollar is more than just a commemorative coin. It is a symbol of national identity, a piece of American artistry, a collector's favorite, and a historical document in metal. It captures a pivotal moment in the nation's timeline, the 200th birthday of the United States, and celebrates it with dignity, beauty, and lasting value for collectors, investors, and historians alike. It is a coin worth knowing and a coin worth preserving. As we continue this deep dive, we will now explore how these coins are evaluated, graded, bought, and sold in today's coin market. We will also take a closer look at auction records, notable collections, and interviews with numismatists who have dedicated their lives to the study of commemorative coinage. Stay with me as we explore even more details about the incredible story of the 1976 half-dollar coin. Let us now shift our focus to how the Kennedy half-dollar evolved before and after 1976. The first Kennedy half-dollar was minted in 1964 following the assassination of President Kennedy in 1963, designed by Gilroy Roberts and Frank Gasparro. It quickly became a cherished national symbol in 1964. The coin was struck in 90% silver, but in subsequent years silver content was reduced and eventually removed from general circulation coins. The 1976 silver version marked one of the last times a Kennedy half-dollar was produced with significant silver content intended for public sale, though not for wide circulation. From 1971 to present, the Kennedy half-dollar has undergone many changes in finish, mintage, and popularity, but none match the national scale and celebratory aura of the 1976 issue. This coin remains a highlight in U.S. coinage history and continues to attract new generations of collectors around the world. Stay tuned as we uncover even more about the legacy, design changes, cultural significance, and current market trends surrounding the 1976 half-dollar coin. In the second half of this special episode, we will cover grading tips, packaging history, investment strategies, and real interviews from top collectors and appraisers across the coin collecting community. Welcome to the world of the 1974 half-dollar, where forgotten metal meets untold value and numismatic history you never learned in school. Old Coins Value. Where we dive deep into the forgotten chapters of American coinage today, we explore the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that may seem ordinary to most, but carries decades of hidden value, national emotion, and collector fascination. The story of this coin begins not in 1974 but in 1963, when President John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas, Texas. His death shocked the nation, and within hours the United States Mint and Treasury officials began considering ways to honor the fallen leader with a circulating coin. By early 1964, the Mint introduced the Kennedy half-dollar, replacing the Franklin half-dollar that had only been in circulation since 1948. This swift change in design was highly unusual and reflected the urgency and emotional impact of the assassination. The coin was released in March 1964, and the public reaction was overwhelming. Millions of Americans rushed to obtain the coin not for spending, but for memorial purposes, which led to hoarding from the very beginning. Now fast forward to 1974, a year when America was still grappling with the Vietnam War economic troubles and the unfolding Watergate scandal. Yet in the world of coins, the Kennedy half-dollar continued to be a symbol of resilience, legacy, and patriotism. The 1974 Kennedy half-dollar was struck at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The regular circulation strikes came from Philadelphia and Denver, while the San Francisco mint struck proof versions for collectors only. The Philadelphia coins have no mint mark and were produced in massive quantities. Over 201 million coins were minted in Philadelphia alone. In contrast, the Denver Mint added the D-Mint mark and produced over 79 million coins for circulation. But what makes the 1974 half-dollar so intriguing is not just its design or mint numbers, but its potential value and mysterious varieties. One of the most legendary and elusive varieties of this coin is the 1974 D double die obverse. This error variety features noticeable doubling on the words, "In God We," trust and liberty on the obverse side, and it has caused a frenzy among collectors for years. This doubled die was the result of a misalignment during the hubbing process, when the working die was improperly impressed twice. With a slight rotation, this created visible doubling. That sharp-eyed collectors seek out the variety was not discovered until many years after the coins had entered circulation, making it extremely rare and desirable. Today, a verified high-grade example of the 1974 DDDO can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction depending on condition and certification. Let's also talk about composition. Unlike the 1964 version, which was struck in 90% silver, the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar was minted in a copper-nickel-clad composition. This change began in 1971 as a cost-saving measure due to the rising price of silver. This meant the 1974 half-dollar contains no silver, except for the special collector proofs from San Francisco in 1974. These were still copper-nickel-clad, unlike the 1965 to 1970 versions, which had 40% silver. Because there is no silver in the regular 1974 half-dollar, many people overlook them and spend them as regular change. But collectors know that condition and varieties are everything when it comes to value. Coins in mint state, especially those graded MS-66 and higher by PCGS or NGC, are becoming increasingly rare from this year. Most of the coins circulated heavily, and finding one in pristine condition is a challenge. The coins often show bag marks, weak strikes, or dull luster, but a gem-quality piece with full details and strong luster can command serious premiums from serious collectors. Even the proof versions struck in San Francisco are collectible. These coins have mirror-like surfaces and are housed in hard plastic cases. They were never intended for circulation and only sold to collectors through mint sets. But here is where the story gets even more interesting. The Kennedy half-dollar was originally intended to be a short-term memorial coin, yet it remains in production to this day. But demand has shifted in recent decades. The half-dollar is rarely seen in circulation. Banks seldom order them from the Federal Reserve, and most people under the age of 30 have never received one in change. This makes the coin seem almost mysterious and adds to its appeal among new collectors. There are also countless stories of people finding rare 1974 half-dollars at garage sales, in rolls of coins inherited from grandparents, or tucked away in forgotten drawers because this coin is not silver. Many casual holders dismiss its potential value, but seasoned numismatists know that a coin's worth is not just in metal, but in minting history, variety, rarity, and grade. Let us return to the 1974 D doubled die. For a moment, this coin is notoriously hard to authenticate without magnification. Many fakes exist, and some are merely die deterioration, not true doubling. So third-party grading is essential. Major services like PCGS and NGC offer clear identification of this variety, and having one certified can drastically increase its value in the eyes of buyers and collectors. On eBay and auction houses like Heritage or Stack's Bowers, 1974 D double die coins can be seen selling for hundreds of dollars. especially in grades above MS64 and those with original mint luster and clean surfaces, are the top prize among modern-era coin collectors. But even common 1974 half dollars in brilliant, uncirculated condition are worth collecting because they are part of the broader American story. They represent a shift in minting from silver to clad metal, a design that carries emotional weight and an era of political turbulence when every symbol of unity, including coinage, mattered. Coin roll hunters still search bankrolls hoping to uncover a gem, 1974D, or perhaps that elusive double die. The thrill of finding one in the wild keeps this coin alive in the hearts of treasure hunters nationwide. And let us not forget about full-step designations or cameo contrasts in proof versions. These subtle grading elements can significantly boost value, especially when combined with pristine surfaces and well-struck design details. For those who inherit coin collections, the 1974 Kennedy half dollar is one to look out for, especially those with sharp details, no wear and clear mint marks or signs of doubling. Sometimes the true value of a coin is not realized until years later when markets shift and knowledge grows. That is why it pays to learn the story behind each coin. From a circulating coin struck in mass numbers to a hidden gem in your grandfather's drawer, the 1974 Kennedy half dollar tells a tale of lost memory, design innovation, and numismatic evolution. Stay with us as we explore more about how these coins were struck, the machinery used. The die life involved the history of the Denver Mint and how you can properly store, identify, and possibly profit from these half dollars in your own collection. The journey of this coin is far from over, and your journey as a collector might just be starting with it. This is not just a coin. This is a legacy in metal, a mirror of American history and perhaps the most undervalued treasure hiding in plain sight in your change drawer, your old piggy bank, or a coin roll waiting to be opened. So get your magnifying glass, your coin scale, and your passion ready, because the world of the 1974 Kennedy half dollar is deeper than you ever imagined. This 1976 half dollar looks ordinary, but it could make you rich. Here's the untold story, hidden value and shocking truth behind this American coin that millions overlook every day. Read carefully as we begin this journey into the world of the 1976 half dollar coin, a piece of American history that holds not just monetary value, but a deeper story that many coin collectors and history lovers crave to uncover. The bicentennial half dollar, minted in 1975 and 1976, stands out from all other issues, not just because of its unique reverse design, but because it commemorates 200 years of American independence, a historic moment captured in the form of a coin. And this coin is more than just metal. It is a symbol of national pride, tradition, and numismatic artistry. Now let us look at the roots of the coin. The half-dollar denomination was first introduced in 1794, but the 1976 version belongs to the Kennedy half-dollar series introduced after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy in 1963. The bicentennial issue, however, replaced the usual reverse design with a new one, showing the Independence Hall in Philadelphia, a building soaked in the essence of American liberty designed by Seth Huntington. The image reflects the spirit of 1776, but the changes do not stop at the reverse. The date on the obverse is also unique. Instead of a single year, it reads 1776 to 1976, making it instantly recognizable to collectors and historians alike. Now dive into the mintage and materials. Millions of these coins were struck by the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and came in three main types. The copper nickel-clad business strikes made for general circulation, the copper-nickel proof strikes mostly from San Francisco, and the silver-clad versions which contain 40% silver and were primarily intended for collectors. The silver versions are of particular interest because of their intrinsic metal value, especially when silver prices rise. Now let us analyze how to identify these varieties. Look at the edge and weight. Copper nickel-clad coins usually weigh around 11.34 grams, while the 40% silver coins are slightly heavier, and their edges may show less copper color. Spotting a silver-clad coin can often mean you are holding a higher value item in your hands. Many people ignore the coin thinking it is ordinary pocket change, but the silver-clad version and some rare errors are worth significantly more than face value. Speaking of errors, the 1976 half dollar has had its share of minting mistakes, including double dies, off-center strikes, missing clad layers, and planche errors. Some of these rare errors have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction and continue to be highly sought after by collectors. The value of the 1976 half dollar depends heavily on its type, condition, mint mark, and whether it has any rare errors circulated. Copper-nickel versions are generally worth face value, but high-grade examples can fetch anywhere between $5 to $20, and silver-clad coins, especially those graded MS67 or higher, can range from $25 to several $100s in pristine proof. Deep cameo condition. Some rare varieties like the 1976S no mint mark silver proof or deep cameo designated coins can reach four-figure values. The real question is how to identify and store such coins properly if you are a beginner in coin collecting. Always start with a magnifying glass, a digital scale, and a coin reference guide or grading book. Coins should be stored in acid-free holders and handled with gloves to preserve their condition. Environmental exposure. Even slight touching can lead to tone changes, scratches, and loss of value over time. Let us also look at how the public received the 1976 half dollar during its release. Americans were deeply involved in the spirit of the bicentennial with celebrations, parades, and renewed patriotic pride. The mint decided to produce special bicentennial designs, not just for the half dollar but also for the quarter and the dollar. The unique trio of coins with special designs created an excitement among the public, and many hoarded these coins as souvenirs. Some were placed in government-issued mint sets or proof sets, while others were circulated across the country. What makes the 1976 half-dollar coin truly interesting is its cultural significance. Unlike modern issues that come and go, the bicentennial half-dollar is a time capsule. It reminds us of the historical unity and pride that the United States felt during the celebration of its 200th birthday. Now explore some auction records and surprising facts. A 1976S silver proof, graded by PCGs as PR70D cam, once sold for over $2,000 because of its flawless mirror-like surface and perfect strike. Similarly, some off-center or misprinted versions of the coin fetched high bids from collectors. Worldwide auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have seen growing demand for premium examples of the coin, reflecting the continued interest in bicentennial issues. What most people do not realize is that coins like the 1976 half dollar are not just numismatic treasures. They are economic and emotional connections to the past. Holding a coin minted during a major milestone in American history allows people to connect physically to the events that shaped their nation. The coin becomes a storytelling device, an educational tool, and a collector item all at once. As a collector or enthusiast, you should always check your change regularly because you never know if a 40% silver coin or a rare error is sitting unnoticed in your collection or pocket. The coins can come from inherited jars, flea markets, estate sales, or simply old rolls from the bank. The thrill of the hunt drives many collectors to keep searching, to keep learning, and to keep preserving history. Through coins looking deeper at the production. The Philadelphia Mint did not put mint marks on its coins at that time, so a coin without a mint mark is from Philly. The Denver Mint coins carry the D mark, while San Francisco Mint coins, especially proofs, carry the S mark. Each of these has its own rarity scale depending on the coin type and condition, and knowing the differences between these marks helps in identifying value. And type. Some coin rolls sold directly by the U.S. Mint during 1975 and 1976 included special bicentennial coins that were never intended for general circulation. These uncirculated and proof rolls remain highly collectible today, especially when still in their original government packaging. Now talk about grading. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. Grades like MS60 to MS70 are assigned based on surface condition, luster strike, and overall eye appeal. Coins that are uncirculated and still show their original shine can command high prices, especially when slabbed and certified by professional grading services such as PCGs or NGC coin collectors, often chase coins in high mint state grades or deep cameo-proof grades, because these are the examples that represent the best of the minting process and are the most prized in serious collections. You can still find raw examples in old coin collections, so it pays to know what to look for when identifying a valuable 1976 half-dollar. Do not overlook the edge pattern, the weight, the feel of the coin, or small irregularities, as these clues could lead you to discover an error or variety worth a small fortune. Collecting coins is not just about investment. It is about passion, heritage, and preserving history with every coin.